Hello, guys. Welcome back to our BBCAN 11 coverage on For the Fans. I'm Kevin, and I'm here once again with Sheldon. Sheldon,
Hello.
what is going on, man?
You know what? This has been a wonderful week of BBCAN. My
Agreed.
favorite of the 2 weeks.
Agreed.
What
Agreed.
my favorite week, especially our Veto episode, which was so much fun, and a great Survivor week. And it's Friday, so I can't complain outside of having the sniffles. So let's
Yeah.
go. How are you,
Okay.
Kevin?
I'm good. I'm good myself. The this BB Can week has been really good, and I'm so torn. I'm so torn, Sheldon, because as we know, that we're getting the daily doses, daily micro dosing. Um, no, no more live feeds for Canada, and I'm like happy, but also like pissed, right? Because everything that happened in the Veto episode happened over a 24-hour period that would have had people glued to the feeds and had me updating my phone all day Saturday. And we get whatever condensed version of it in the episode. So we don't even get the full version. And it was so good. It was so juicy. And we don't get most of it on the feeds because there are no feeds, and then the daily double there was like none.
Why do you think the feeds were cut?
So I'm going to be honest with you, I cannot tell you because I don't know understand how Canadian TV works.
Yeah.
And I say that because what was already shown on the feeds, there was a lot cut out normally because I guess the feeds are free in Canada.
Yeah.
And so a lot was already cut on the feeds. And then in addition to that, from what I understand, something that Canadian Big Brother has that BBUS doesn't have is that they have like bedtime hours, right? So like there's nothing filming over like between 10 and 8 or something in Canada.
But there's nobody there. Like they're all asleep anyway, so who cares?
What I'm saying though, that there's things like that since it's so different on how they do mechanisms. I'm not really sure why the feeds are gone
Well,
when
I
they're
wonder.
able to control it so much.
Well, I don't get it. I just don't like. Even if I think about it as a financial perspective, they need somebody to be there at night, anyways, watching the feeds and controlling cameras, and like, you just need an extra person turning the feeds on or off. Like, so I'm thinking, is this a financial decision? It doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't
Like,
sound like it.
the only thing I could think of is that this is a risk decision of maybe something is shown about the people in the house that they don't want the people in the world to see. It's not good. It's not good for the network. It's not good for the brand. But I don't know. Like, is that worth it? Is that I don't know.
Well, it's interesting you say that because, like, as you know, on the CBS side, um, there's like a disclaimer. Like the
Yeah.
disclaimer came up after BB15 with Aaron and all those people. There was
We
no
are
disclaimer
not
before then.
responsible for
Yes,
anything
correct.
this woman says.
Exactly,
This
exactly.
specific one woman.
So when those things started happening, everything was behind a paywall.
Yeah.
On the Big Brother side, so on the BBUS side, so um, feeds. I don't foresee feeds going away. I think in fact they said feeds aren't going to go away. There was like a statement made or something. So maybe because it's on free Canadian TV, that's the reason for censorship. But at the same time, they already cut the feeds all the time anyway. When Jess was going home last season, all of the stuff with Jess for that week was like gone. There was no content. The feeds were down. The feeds never went to Jess. They were able to really censor whatever was going on with Jess. Um, so they're able to censor things. So I'm not really sure from a social perspective why it got cut, why they decided not to go live feeds either.
Well, look, to me, it's all about the fact that you've got fans, then you've got the super fans. And the feeds are fully 100% for the super fans. And who's going to get super fans to get their friends and family to watch? More than real super fans. Nobody else is going to do that. So to me, it cuts it cuts the service that the super fans get, and thus cuts their ability to actually advertise and show the show to their friends and families. So I don't really get it. Like, the only thing I could come to is, again, there are things that happens in that house, maybe from a mental health perspective, that like I assume
Possibly.
this stuff wasn't seen about Jess is because they were going through a lot of crap that really it's none of our business. Yes, they decided to go on a television show. Yes, they decide, but maybe really it's just it's better not to show this stuff and show the stuff that's just
Yeah.
pertinent. But I have to say, like I wasn't a big feeds guy either, but I
Hmm.
think I'm missing a lot of the. I would go up on a website and see what's going on in the game. Sometimes I would dial in and see just the stupid conversations of them, frying eggs, and you really get a glimpse into people's lives outside of just the game.
Yeah.
That to me was the differentiator between this and Survivor. Like we didn't just get the strategy and a little bit of the fun around camp. We got people living their lives for months and months on end, 24/7. And I feel we
Talking
missed.
about the most randomest conversations.
Yes, yes. And that was part of it. It was seeing even the most good-looking man or woman talking about ridiculous. Why do I have a hair growing here? Like it was
Yeah.
those conversations that were like, oh my god, we're all just humans.
Yes. It was like it's like a live version. You know that video game The Sims? It's like a live version of The Sims. Like you're just watching them live their lives in this house, in this controlled environment, and just doing whatever they want, just hanging out. And
Yeah,
we got that. We used to get that, but we don't really get that now. And that's like really leading us into this 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 first veto episode, right? Because we're not going to go beat by beat, obviously, especially when we
no,
do, as you know, when we do the
couple
um the
shows.
the the two episodes together, we like to do like broad strokes. Um, but in the first episode, in the veto episode, we start off with Dan putting up um Renee and Hope, right?
Yes.
We get a
Hope,
conversation from Renee. Hope
yeah.
volunteering to go.
And then looking upset.
Well, because he like changed his mind, but like it was like
Too
at
late,
that point the ketchup was out the tube, man. Toothpaste was out the
but
tube, ketchup was out the bottle. Like there's nothing
correct,
you could do.
correct me if I'm wrong. They nominate, so the HOH is on Thursday night, and then they do the nominations on Friday, like probably morning or
HOH
afternoon.
Thursday, nominations Friday
Right.
afternoon
So,
ish.
so on Thursday night, he went up and told Dan, you know what? I'm for the men, and I want to win. Put me. So what's the next logical step? Put me up.
Put me up,
Don't get how
obviously.
we get
That's
there,
what I
but
want to do for
okay.
the guys. That's what I want to do
So
for the
there wasn't
guys.
enough time for him to, I guess, reel Dan back in, slash enough time for him to reel Zach back in.
Well, and then he goes back up there and tells them, you know what? Maybe don't put me up. But at that point, we're Friday midday
Yeah,
almost.
probably.
And
Well,
so that
it's
was kind
interesting
of
because
it.
I see some of them during this ceremony with a cup of coffee in their hand. So I wouldn't be surprised if they
It
do
might
in the
have been
morning.
mid morning. Mid
Like
morning. Yeah, it might have
it
been
might
mid
have been
morning.
they
So
woke up and then 30 minutes later we have a nomination.
probably not 30, but like there's like we were talking about a morning call. They probably wake them up at 8,
Yeah.
probably 10 a.m. We're doing that call. So like 2 hours. Like like you get
Yep.
2 hours to like figure it out. So then Hope comes and talks to him an hour after he's woken up, but an hour before the ceremony. So it's like, what was I supposed to do? Like we talked about it last night. I talked to other people. I didn't get time to circle back around with any of my thoughts.
Yep.
So here we are. And it's funny because he puts up Hope and then he puts up Renee. And Renee comes up to him and she's like, do you think this was a good idea for your game? And Dan's like, yeah, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
When I was upstairs and had a gummy conversation, it felt right.
But
Right?
now that you're saying you aren't coming for me, was it
Uh,
right?
was it? But,
It's,
but but it wasn't even the question of was it right. It was right. I think was what it was explained to me and made sense to me in the moment. So I just did it. Yes, it was right.
and so
Sabotage.
you get that because the plan is the Zach's plan is to backdoor Rob. That's
Yeah.
Zach's plan. And so thus is Dan's plan also,
Yes.
but it's
Oh,
it's it's not even Ty's plan though. Like that's the best part is that Ty is not even like completely on board with this, but like
I
just
don't.
chill with it.
Ty is so confusing to me, Kevin,
Why?
because I'm sorry, he's doing the same thing Santina and Dan did. He's just listening to Zach. And
Yes, yes.
like they're all under this magic spell. And the thing is, we see Santina's now out of it.
Wait, wait. We're
Maybe,
gonna get to that. I want to save
but
that point because
but just talk,
I want to get there
just
for
Ty.
sure.
Like I actually had like high hopes for Ty, and he's just like following along. La-di-da-di-da. Let's just do what Zach does.
Yeah, and I think,
Zach's my real showman. Not the cute girl that I made out with. Like
right,
what?
and it's so interesting because um, Dan has this conversation, and then Dan's like, then Zach talks to Ty, and Ty says, "Well, afterwards, Dan's got to go," and Zach's like, "No," and Ty's like, "Yes,
Yeah.
no, he definitely has to go after he does the thing we need him to do." And he's like, and then Zach says, "I trust him more than I trust Claudia."
Boom.
And Ty's like, hold up. Like, we're not talking about my girlfriend here. Like, we're talking about you're a guy that you're getting to do this one thing for us. Like, he can win comps. He's dangerous. He's not good for our game. And then Zach's like, Claudia's not good for my game. And once again,
Me, me, me,
that's
me,
look
me,
I,
me, 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 me,
right.
me,
And
me.
that's why I wanted to push back a little bit because I think Ty's like, think he feels that like JM said he's coming for the guys, so fine, JM can go. I don't love that Rob's go up there, but at the same time, my girl was wearing Rob's jacket,
Yeah.
and we have decided Rob's going to go a few days ago, so whatever, Rob can go. You start talking about people that he's like actually close to, Claudia,
Yeah.
Kuzi, Hope.
Yes.
I think he's like, Zach, pump your brakes. We're not doing that. I think he
But,
does
but
think for himself a little bit.
but he's never expressed that or acted on that. Like he's
He
done
did with Claudia.
every. He did with Claudia. What do you do with
No,
Claudia?
he
Not
did in
tell
the
him anything?
conversation when he brought up when Zach brought up Claudia,
Yeah,
he
yeah. I
pushed
guess
back a little bit.
for 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean that was enough. It was enough. It was to push back a little bit to show he didn't like acquiesce. He's just like,
I don't
we're
know.
not gonna. He's like, we'll revisit this damn conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as bought in as you are, and I hope that's the case. I would
Oh,
love Ty to
okay.
get some redemption
I
and
don't want you to
be,
be
you know,
confused. I don't want you to be confused. I'm not bought in that Ty's playing like a good game. I just think that he thinks that he's working more with Zach, and I think he is working more with Zach than than like Santina's and the Dans. I
I think
think
I think that's true. Except I don't have any evidence of that. Like I think I have evidence of that from Ty's perspective, but I think
I mean
Zach's playing for Zach.
I'll give you proof. I'll give you
Zach
proof.
doesn't give a crap.
In this conversation, Zach says
It's
everyone
up
thinks
to
that
me.
this is my idea. You need to take some blame of this too.
Yeah,
Like it's he considers Ty close to an equal as he could of all the people. Um
but not
and
really.
because he considers Santina and Dan subordinates, right?
Yes,
He considers them people that he's telling what to do. As you see him talk to Ty, he has to like try to convince Ty that his plan works, and Ty's like, I don't like that part, and he's like, okay, well, how about this part? Because he's
is he afraid of Ty? Like I don't. I kind of like what the words that you're saying make sense to your
mhm.
argument. I just don't buy that Zach gives a shit.
I don't think that he gives it. I think he knows that you can't win this game by yourself, right? Bless you. I think he knows that you can't win the game by yourself. But I think that he has decided that Ty is going to be the guy. But Ty has another ride or die, if you will, and Claudia sorta, and he doesn't like that. Now, mind you, you and I both know that he's not really ride or dies with Claudia. But as far as Zach's concerned, he has a secondary person, and he wishes that he could also have this like he wants a secondary person also. Zach wants a
Yeah,
secondary person also.
yeah. Except he can't make a secondary person because however much this sales guy thinks he can make real strong relationships, they're all surface level bullcrap that are meant to move him up one peg. And
Correct.
as we are about to see in the next few episodes, he's about to go down.
Correct. Because it's extremely transparent and it's paper thin, and that's where the biggest problem is that they're not strong relationships he's made. They're not substantial. They're not long lasting either. They're for the moment, and then it opens up their eyes because with Rob being the backdoor target, Zach thinks he could just talk in rooms, and we see him talking to Ty about Rob. Well, Ty brings up to Rob to Zach
Back.
that Claudia, when she had a conversation with Ty, says, so we're backdooring Rob, and Ty's like, no, because initially, Claudia says, so Renee and Hope are up, huh? And Ty says, well, we're gonna say I'm not. Neither one of them are gonna go home. And she's like, that's real interesting. How's neither one of them going to go home? Because we go back to what me and you were talking about, the Montagues versus the Capulets. Yep. Like, they're both trying to keep what they know close to their chest.
But you see, I'm not sure that's 100% true with Claudia. I think Claudia is willing to play with him. He's not willing to play with her.
And but so she's willing to play with him without selling out the girls.
I'm not sure if that's true, by the way. Like I think that she would be okay with him being her ride or die, and also keep the girls as sort of her fake or real alliance. But I don't think that she at this point would be willing to get rid of him from the game. I don't think that's true with Ty, even though he stood up for her a couple times. I think if Zach convinces him, we need to get rid of her, she's doing this, she's doing that. My sense is that he would say, yeah, I guess I have to do it.
I disagree.
Because I don't know. I don't see that yet. I will say, though, I have been extremely impressed with Claudia. We haven't seen an exorbitant amount. We haven't. Right. But what we've seen is her ability to sit down with multiple different people along the house, really make these good relationships, get into it. And, she seems to be reading things in her diary room sessions really well. Yes. She's always right.
Very observant, very intellectual.
Very.
And the reason I disagree with you with Ty getting rid of Claudia is because I think he understands that Claudia is good for him to have because she's good for his game. I think that he has no problem getting rid of any of her friends, though. And
so would he choose Zach over Claudia?
I think that if it came down to that, if it was between the two of them, I think he chooses Claudia. I think he chooses Zach over Claudia.
I think he chooses Zach.
But I think he chooses Claudia over anybody else. That's what I.
Yeah.
So,
yes, but at the end of the day, he's not playing the game for Ty. I don't think he's
somehow
playing the game for Zach.
But I think that Claudia though chooses Shaylin. Shania. I think she chooses Shania. I think she chooses Shania over.
We don't know their names.
I think she chooses Shania over Ty.
I'm not sure. But the only reason why I might side with you is the fact that he hasn't opened his mouth to her about anything. So she might not have a choice but to make that choice.
Right. Because she's like, I talk game with Shania and Ty. It's pretty and I like kissing him. But every time I try to talk to him, he's standoffish and he backpedals. And that's not good. Because even in this conversation, she brings up to him, so you're going to say both of them. So then you're thinking back door, probably Rob, and he says, who told you that?
So in the microdoses that you have watched recaps for, because I don't watch, I don't microdose, not usually. Yeah. Have they had real conversations? Because I have to say, I do not actually understand the outside of a physical attraction. It doesn't seem like they like each other. Like, I don't see a connection.
So I haven't seen them on the microdoses doing anything but like talking about like just hanging around talking about like conversation stuff. And I don't on the microdoses on the daily doses, I don't really watch too much of the non-game stuff because there's not like when you have hours to look over, you are going to hear non-game stuff while you hear game. Since it's edited, I can fast forward through the non-game conversations looking for game.
I guess my question is, do they actually even like each other?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure
But
they do.
is it more than just you are beautiful? I like holding your hand,
I
or
think it
is
is.
it there's
I
something
think
a little bit deeper about you that I
I
really
think you're
like?
definitely overblowing it. And I say that,
Okay,
and I only say that for this reason. We only see so much of the edited part. So
true,
but they seem to be spending a lot of time together in general, which means they
true.
have to have other conversations that are not
Well,
game. But when it comes to game, that's when he becomes standoffish.
well, I can't like I don't know if I was in a relationship with him. Like he doesn't. He just yeah. Well, we don't know about that. We don't know. Like
But
he doesn't answer questions.
he seems to shut it down when it gets to game parts.
Okay, so I listen. I hope. Listen. I want them to
Because
have a.
okay, let's think about it.
I want them to
There's
have a
been
beautiful wedding.
Well,
Okay.
there's been a couple times that we've seen them, Sheldon, right? They're usually the first time we saw them, they were like laying on the couches, and she had her hand like on his knee, right? They had to have gotten to that point before they showed us the conversation in the episode.
I
So
hope
they
so.
had to have been talking about other stuff before they got there. Even in this episode, she was already like leaning against something and had her like coffee while she was talking, and he was shooting pool. He was already in the game. So it was they had to have been talking about something before, and
True.
then they jump us in the game talk part, and out, and like you said, all we're seeing is him shut it down every time. So I assume they're having other conversations where they're spending time around each other, and then the moment you bring up game, the moment you bring up Montague stuff, he is not talking in allegiance to his family.
He's so This is why I love you, Kevin. You're hilarious. Okay, one other thing that's a little bit off topic. Why is nobody looking at the books? They're in that room all the time. Only Santina is
forget
looking through the
no
book.
forget nobody, Sheldon. Why haven't we seen Santina back at the books yet?
Give me more books. She found something in the book. Go find some more.
I and I'm so upset that you mentioned that because she might have, and they just haven't shown us. If we were able to watch full feeds, someone would have already seen that she found the thing. But because we don't know, they might show it to us in like 6 weeks and say week 1 flashback and have like the little the like the sepia like tint on it or whatever,
The
and then it's her.
sepia, the
No, the
sepia
sepia.
tint. That's what you. The winner of Survivor tint. That's the tint. Okay.
But you might have this tint on it, and it's her like finding it before day. Like that's gonna be I'm gonna be really upset if that happens because if we had feeds, we probably would have already saw it or heard her talk to someone about it. But we don't have feeds, so we don't know.
Okay, but outside of that, Kevin, you're in that house. I'm in that
Yeah.
house. We are gonna go into that room at some point and open up those books and see
People probably have.
and say, "Oh my gosh, there's nothing here. There's got to be something somewhere. Why are there not people sneaking into there and saying, "Oh, I'm taking this section today, this section tomorrow"? Like
They probably have.
Where is that?
Daniel probably has.
He better have. He
But
better.
we don't see Daniel at all on the show. You know what I'm saying?
Who?
Exactly.
I also don't see JM.
And it's not and it's not a knock to Daniel because he's laying low and he's starting to like really lead this resistance fighters. But it's I'm sure he's done some stuff to really go in there.
I hope so. By the way, you know how you said we don't see Daniel? We also hardly saw our HOH this week during his HOH.
During his HOH reign. And so getting into the episode a little bit more, we see Ty go back to Zach and say, "Hey, the girls are on to us."
Yep.
And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Rob is telling Shania that he thinks he's going up." And then Zach's like, "He's just being paranoid. Why does he think that?" But Santina's sitting in the room, and Zach's like, "That's the plan." Santina's sitting right there, just supposed to be chill and like just take it because Santina's in with the boys as far as Zach's concerned. Now, Santina, first and foremost, gorgeous. I want to say that again. Like, just I watch her on the screen and I'm like, this woman is beautiful. Secondly, though, I'm watching as she's playing almost like a triple agent, right? Because she's like in Zach's alliance, but then like told the girl she's with the girls, but then watches Zach say that she's going after Rob, and then now really wants to work against Zach, but
but
not necessarily with the girls.
so Kevin, this is like really interesting because it's not just she's a triple agent. She was duped, and then she realized she was duped, and while she's able to realize how she's duped,
She's
she's been
staying
able to
undercover.
still keep her cover everywhere.
Yes.
Like that is to me even harder than knowing in the beginning that, oh shit, this guy is dangerous.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, it took her maybe a week and a half, fine, but she's figured it out.
You hit the nail right on the head. She was duped. She was realized she was duped,
Yeah.
but was still working undercover. Realized how badly she was duped and watched
Yep.
it happen to Dan,
Yep.
and then said, "Oh, this guy's dangerous. But in order for me to stay safe, I have to keep I have to keep sleeping with the mob boss. I have to stay in here and continue on, even though I've now realized that I got to figure out how to go to the feds, because it's not. I can't just go to the feds. I can't. And the girls at the same time, they think I'm in with them, but I'm not necessarily in with them either, because I know that they're in trouble based on how things are going, and I can't put my neck out there too much."
But you see, I don't know what that does to her in the game longer term, because I don't think she's a Daniel Kuzi Anika. I don't think she's in the middle. I think she's a kind of nowhere. And is she just
She's
somebody,
nowhere and everywhere at the same time.
and that's weird to be. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Maybe
Correct.
there's a magical way to make that work, but that's an easy person to vote out in my books. You get nobody upset.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's the opposite. I think she's a hard person to vote out, because everyone that's anyone has some kind of connection to her.
Yeah, I don't know, because the girls might think, okay, well, she's not really with us; she's actually with them.
But that's
the guys
that's
are gonna
opposite
think,
though. She's doing a fantastic job of being undercover, because the girls are like, we can get Santina with us.
I don't know. Time will tell, because look, it's not like she didn't vote out JM. It's like she put him
She didn't
up.
vote out JM.
She backed
She put
him up.
She put him up.
She didn't put him up.
But she went to the
backed
girls
him up.
afterwards and said, I made a mistake.
Yes. Well,
And so
yeah. Can you imagine how horrible it is for JM, who's sitting at home thinking, wow, what did I do? I didn't do nothing. It was all that piece of shit.
Well, we go back to Santina sitting there, and then Santina has a conversation with Rob, which I loved, because she's sitting there and she's looking at him and she's like, poor baby, you're going to be going up. And he's like,
and he's confused, like a little dog, like a little puppy. Yes. Not really sure. He knows something just happened, but not sure.
Yes. And she's like, what? He's like, what? And she's like, I'm telling you,
you're going up.
You're going up. You're not in a good spot. And I'm so sorry that you're not in a good spot. And I know why you're going up. And he's like, just tell me straight. And she's like, I am.
You're going
I just told
up,
you,
brother.
And then he leaves. And he's like, I'm just so confused. I don't know what's going on here. These guys, I trust these guys. I don't know what's going on. She's like, oh, poor baby. We go into the veto competition. We get the veto players. I love how the veto players get picked, by the way. Just this random chess pieces. You pick one up, has a name on the bottom. That's just it.
Look, I have to say, the way they pick, the way they pick it in Big Brother, regular Big Brother, USA, I guess you would call it,
boring.
Is it's not that it's boring, it's just random. So this is the exact same way. It's still freaking random as hell. It's just every season they seem to do something a little bit different, so it's not the same thing. Last year they spun around on the thingy. This year they're doing chess pieces. They thought they were Survivor.
Well, it gives you the feel of that you have agency.
But you're the one that can actually see what you picked, as opposed to you're the one that actually can't see the thing that you picked in the baggie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, you pick up the piece, has a name on the bottom, but you chose that piece. Last week you spun the wheel, hard or soft. You spun the wheel. You know what I'm saying? And so
last week you put your hand all the way to the bottom
of the bag. You didn't take the top one. You took one on the bottom.
Why would you do that, you idiot?
Correct. Which is why it was great. So I've seen them pick that. The veto players end up being Hope and Renee. It ends up being, along with them, Vanessa, Kuzi, and Zach. And I love Kuzi's response when she's like, I don't want to be playing this game right now. I need to be worried about this way later. Not right now, not at all. And I love that reaction because Kuzi's here to play. Kuzi knows how to play this game.
She's here to play, and she's doing everything that she should be doing.
Correct.
Great. I can't wait for her to become Kevin Jacobs. I can't wait. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be along with her and Daniel are the new ghosts.
Agreed. But I don't know if she's Kevin and Daniel's Helena.
I don't know either.
Not sure which is which yet. And maybe they're not. Maybe they're just Daniel and Kuzi.
And which is good players. Which are good players.
Yeah. That would be a great final two for me.
Well, I have Kuzi.
I don't know who I have any.
I have Daniel. Yeah. And so we watch. It's interesting because the competition happens. They have to build this. First off, I love the fact that there's so much strong product placement in these episodes. And so Philips Sonic Care is the new sponsor.
They spent this week 20-30 minutes on sponsorships.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Gotta make that money. We're not having
live feeds. So you gotta find it somewhere.
So you everybody's dressed as a tooth. They have to build a toothbrush.
Make it balance.
And they have to make it balance. And after that, after you build the toothbrush, you get put into order. You have to compete in the second part of the POV competition.
Our enemy was first.
Yes, Zach comes in first. Next is Vanessa. Yeah. Then Kuzi. So the three people that are not fighting for their lives, and then Renee, and then Hope.
Could you? This guy came to compete. He can't even make a toothbrush stand up.
Correct, and that was a problem. But he puts it together, and then we have after he puts it, they put the toothbrushes together. The next part is that they have to put the bristles on the toothbrush.
It was cute.
What did you feel about this? Because the way it starts is that 5 versus 4, and then whoever wins faces 3, whoever wins faces 2, faces 1.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I was so bored by the product placement, I fast forwarded it.
Okay, so the thing that was interesting to me was that Hope has almost an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Because all the bristles had a different shape on the bottom. So he knew how to click them in there as he went on. He got more and more practice.
Yeah.
As the competition goes, Hope defeats everyone, with Vanessa coming the closest to matching him. Yeah. After that happens, I hope you rewound to this part so that way you can see what was happening here. After that happens, Hope goes against Zach.
Yep.
And Zach wins the veto.
Yep.
Hope, in his anger and frustration with what happened, not anger, but his frustration, he says to Vanessa, who apparently he has a close relationship with, and I say apparently because we don't see it on the feeds. He says to Vanessa, did you throw it? Because she only lost by 2 bristles. She's like, no.
Well, he said something a bit more nefarious. He said,
"Wait, no, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there." Because first she says, "Did you throw it?" She's like, "No," and then he said, "Did you help? Did you tell him how to beat me?" Yeah. Him being Zach.
Yeah.
This instantaneously upsets her.
Yeah. And
she's like, "No," and then she's starting to cry.
Yep.
She's very upset because she has apparently a close relationship with Hope. And so for Hope to think that Vanessa stopped him from winning on purpose upset her greatly.
Yeah.
We get back into the house.
And you getting emotional? I hope you're not getting emotional over this.
If I'm getting emotional, I should probably go home. Because that's what we hear here. Because after this happens, Hope is walking through the house and Vanessa's crying and he's like, what's wrong? He goes up there to comfort her and she's like, I'm upset with you. You said to me that I threw it. If I threw it, and if I didn't throw it, did I help Zach beat me?
Yeah.
In another room, we see Kuzi hanging out with Zach and they're talking about Vanessa crying. I guess she cries a lot.
Yeah.
And Kuzi saying, oh, she's crying again. And Zach says, someone that emotional doesn't belong in this game. I don't
Okay,
know if Vanessa overheard this.
no, Kuzi probably went to tell her.
That's what I'm thinking too. We don't get to see everything.
No.
But Kuzi tells Vanessa, let's assume, Zach's hanging out. We see Vanessa grab Zach and pull him to the side. Go on, Sheldon.
I was just gonna say again, like this is the folly, this is the silliness of Zach. He was feeling high and mighty in the moment. He keeps on. He just won 2 HOHs in a row. He just won
Yeah.
the veto. He's about to backdoor, I guess, who he thinks is his biggest threat in the game, Roberto. And he's a cocky sob.
He won. Wait. He won 2 HOHs and 2 vetoes.
And two vetoes. Bang
Because
on.
Ty
You're
won the
absolutely
veto.
right.
Ty won
You're
the veto, so that
absolutely.
way
He
his
won.
backdoor.
He has completely been in power for now 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And so he has the ability to make a flippant comment like that. He could just do it because nobody could hit me.
No one can touch me.
And then he goes on to say somebody that emotional shouldn't be in this game. And like, I'll be honest, her reaction I think was emotional and a bit silly and whatever. And but that's her. Right? Like that's just her. Maybe I wouldn't have reacted like that. Maybe you wouldn't have reacted like that. But in her mind, this is my friend and he thinks I helped him lose. Like no, that's not right. So she was offended, and rightfully so. She was offended. So I just think that it's again another sign of complete disrespect from Zach and complete cockiness, complete misunderstanding of who he is in the game. And as we keep on seeing, the fact that not everybody is a pawn in his chessboard.
I disagree, though. And the part I disagree on is that this is not the example. It's the conversation that they have where it is the example. Because Vanessa comes up to him and says, "Can I talk to you?" They go to the side into a room. He's like, "What's up?" And she's like, "I am an emotional person. Emotions make people human, and humans are the ones that play this game. I heard I was upset because Hope thought I threw the game to him, and then he thought that I helped you beat him. And that's not what happened at all. And that's why I was being emotional. And I know you feel like emotional people don't belong in this game, but
So
people
must have said something like that before, by the way.
Yes. And so I know you believe that, but I can have emotions and still belong in this game." And he's like, "Sure, but that's not what I was saying, but you don't have to take all the things emotionally." Like, "No, I can be a person and I can have this in the game." And he says, "Well, listen, if you're going to be emotional like that, it is what it is." And he like gets up to leave and just walks away from the conversation, basically telling her that I won't be belittled and I won't be put down and I will not be listening to what you have to say.
Yep.
This is where I think what you were saying is where he has the arrogance to think that he can do whatever he wants, because at this point,
both. Kevin, to me, it's both. He's just
either yes, I already know what you're saying.
I don't think I've ever felt this way about anybody in any of these shows. Like, even the way he walks, the way he crosses his legs, like everything about him is, I am better than all of you. I am smarter than all of you. I control all of you. And to go up to a woman, a mother, like somebody who has a career, somebody who's been through ups and downs, and to say, to have such disrespect, it's so yucky. Like honestly, I'm embarrassed for Canada. Like this guy should not be on TV. He's an embarrassment.
Do you know one of the reasons why Zach is a bad Big Brother player?
Because he doesn't get his own ridiculousness?
No, because all of this bravado, all of these plans, all of this backstabbing he's doing, all of this good gameplay later in the game, it is week effing 2. So move, like, you can't keep this up for 10 weeks.
I completely agree, except I don't agree because, like, I don't know how you could do that. If you actually make real relationships, would he be able to actually do that halfway through?
You can still make the backdoor moves and stuff like that. But like week 1, JM says, "I'm going to get out the guys." He decides that JM has to go immediately. During that HOH, Renee talks about being socially aware. So he decides that Renee may need to go also sooner than later. Mind you, we're playing a game where only one person can win. So obviously all these people have to go, my guy. But then while that's happening, Rob expresses distaste for one of your ideas. So then you decided that Rob needs to go.
Gotta go.
Right now you're having this conversation with Vanessa, and you're like, Vanessa is now on my radar because she is not acquiescing to everything how I think it should go.
Yep. Not only that, she's annoying me.
Yeah, like she's annoying me.
Oh, this lady's crying again. I don't want to deal with this shit. Somebody get rid of her. Like, it's just so, I don't know. Is there, maybe I have a theory. I don't think I'm right at all. Does this guy know he's not going to win? Does this guy, maybe he doesn't want to win?
No, there's no way. He must think that he's going to win. He thinks they're all under his control. He's talked about how smart he is and how he's the smartest guy in here. And
but like, it's gonna then he's delusional. Then he's delusional. Like, he's nuts. He's I don't know if it's politically correct to say it. He's nuts.
Yeah,
like he doesn't get it. Like I can't imagine that either. Like, how could you be so not self-aware?
And you can't do this week 2 when you've built no strong social relationships.
Well,
none of these people, even that one's not that strong, because after Zach wins the veto, they have a conversation, and Zach's like, if Ty's like, why didn't you throw that to Hope?
Yeah,
and he's like,
that was such a weird conversation too. Like,
what do you mean?
It was weird in the sense that they didn't go into the POV having a real discussion about what they should do.
Well, I love the fact that he says that, and Zach says, we didn't talk about that, and Ty says, I didn't think I would have to, like, because he's 100% correct. Why are we not throwing this to Hope? For multitudes of reasons. Let me name a few. Hope has already said he's here to compete, so he wants to win the comps. Hope's working with us, so might as well let him win this one. Go hard, but not too hard. Make sure that he thinks he won it for real. That's number 1. Number 2, Hope is on the block, so the veto is going to have to be used if Hope is on the block. So then we still get what we want. Number 3, we don't need to make you look like a big threat. So why are you trying to win? You shouldn't be trying to finish first. And if you do finish first so you have control, you should be losing the Hope in the end, because everything that we need is taken care of. I'm with Ty. I didn't think this was needed to be had a conversation, Mr. Brainiac. You're the one that's told us how smart you are and how you know everything going on. Why was this not so simple to figure out?
But isn't this, look, I'm not going to be Sigmund Freud here, but isn't this classical? He is so insecure with himself, this man, that he doesn't even believe that the guy who's done everything that he asked him to do so far, Dan S., that he's going to follow through and won't put him up. So if he has the chance to win, he's going to take it. Like, I think he is so uncomfortable with himself and his ability and his relationships, and I don't know what the hell happened to him outside the house, and I probably should not be psychoanalyzing him. I do not have a medical degree or a psychological anything, but it makes no logical sense. It makes no game sense. The only thing I can think of is this guy is so uncomfortable with himself that he doesn't believe in any of the relationships. And look, that's a clear sign of what he is. Relationships to him are not a long-term meaningful thing.
All transactional.
Relation things are completely transactional. This week, I need to make a relationship with Santina for her to do this. I then have to make a relationship with Dan for him to do this. That's all it is.
And you're right. It's proof positive, right? I just love, like, I'm smiling from ear to ear because the fact that Ty's like, I didn't think I would have to explain that to you. Like, you told me, you've been telling everyone how to play this game. I thought you would have known to, like, let the guy that's on the block win the thing so we get the thing done.
And Zach's rationale was basically a whole heck of a lot of nothing. Outside of looking offended that Ty was questioning him.
Yes. How dare you think that this was a bad idea? Like, that was...
But then again, like even with that, like, why wasn't Ty, like, angry? Or, like, I want a confessional with Ty.
Because Ty knows he's not going up. He knows that the plan's still going through. And remember earlier in the conversation, Zach was talking about how Ty needs to take some responsibility. Ty's like, I'm chilling, man. All the heat's on you, dog. Like, this is not...
Okay, but if that's the case, then he better start making some new relationships really freaking quickly and start opening up to Claudia
Oh, Claudia,
so
yeah.
that he has other paths. Because right
Hmm.
now, all of his eggs are in one basket, and that's Mr. Zach. Who, yes, it's quite possible Zach's the target, but POVs happen, and that might
Correct.
take
Well,
time.
all of his eggs weren't in one basket; they were all amongst the guys. But now they're all in one basket
Yep,
because
the guys don't want it.
Vanessa comes back down
Ooh,
and she says to Zach in the kitchen, one of the sickest birds I've ever heard. You're
what?
the type of guy that has to try to be nice. that is that's
You thought that? I don't know. It didn't feel that sick to me.
Let me tell you why, man. Because most people are nice just
Just
in
human.
general. Yes, but for her to say you're the type of person that has to try to be nice means that you naturally are just a dickhead, and you have to work at being a good person.
I don't know. It felt honestly kind of weak to me when I
Oh,
heard it.
it got the reaction needed because people then
Yeah.
started paying attention. Because
Oh yeah.
Zach's like, what? And
Yes.
she's like, didn't you try to attribute bad things to JM? Didn't you say that you want to do other things? Didn't you want to put up Rob last week? And then that's when people are like,
Boom.
what?
Yeah.
He want to put up, he's like,
And there's Rob
no.
upstairs at the balcony in his underwear watching very carefully.
And then they're like, he's like, yeah, no, you came and asked me, would I vote out Rob? That's what you asked last week. You wanted Rob to go instead of JM. Mind you, Zach Square has the veto. The veto's been played. Zach already has it. The veto has not been used. Rob is not aware that he's going to be the backdoor target. And he's like, people are like, interesting. This is loud. She's like, yeah, man, I'm blowing up the game right now. That's what I'm doing right now, Zach. You wanted to put up Rob, and that was what you wanted to do, you and Ty. Zach's like, that's not it at all, man. That's not what I'm not trying to do that at all. She's got Zach dead to rights.
Well, so what's interesting to me about this is, you know what, she stepped up for herself. She went back with the fact that it's okay to have emotions, which is, yes, human, right? Good. But one of my favorite parts about this move is that it did not put a target on her.
No.
Like everybody got very woke, for lack of a better word, to Zach. And she somehow scot-free, not a target still.
You know why, though, right?
Why?
Because of exactly what you've been saying. All of his relationships are transactional. So the moment that the receipt came out, people are like,
oh, yeah. Well, not all the people. Not Dan S.
So, because Dan S thinks he's in with these boys. So the words come out there that because Rob wasn't on the balcony. Rob was sleeping. Rob was laying down. But she's making commotion. And in the episode, it makes it look like Rob gets up. Other people start listening. They come out on the balcony. They listen in as she's making a big to-do about it.
By the way, I could so see myself in the Big Brother house being the one sitting at the balcony, like maybe even hiding.
Just looking and listening.
I don't want to be part of this, but I want to watch.
And so she makes a very, very big scene. Zach makes it sound as if she's crazy. Yeah. But no one seemed, because of all his relationships being transactional, no one believes Zach. Yeah. Rob starts going around to like just verify. So Rob goes and talks to Vanessa and says, so explain what's going on. She's like, yeah, last week he was trying to get you up, man. So I mean, that's what's going on. Rob then goes and talks to Zach. Ty.
Rob says that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, right? Like, and he's still fully on the Zach train, but he's starting to get a little bit. Okay, what? Why would she be doing this if it was?
Vanessa has no reason to make this up. No. You know what I'm saying? That's like no, but that's what he's like. He's like, Vanessa there's no benefit for her to make this up. I already thought things were a little weird and shaky.
Yeah.
And then now I'm hearing this from Vanessa. And Vanessa's blowing. I'm not even in the room. It's not like she like pointed to me in the room. I wasn't even in the room.
Correct.
So why is she throwing my name out there?
Yeah.
He then goes and talks to Zach, Ty, and Santina. And I thought this was foolish because he goes and talks to this, not him talking to it, but Zach being like, you don't trust us? Like, what do you mean? Like, of course that's not the plan. Like, don't discredit the information he's heard. You could try to maneuver out of it, maneuver out of it, but trying to make it sound like Vanessa's a liar and she didn't like hear something, or maybe that someone else mentioned it and you were like over it. Like Zach did not do a good way of weaseling out of this, and then all he does is walk away.
Well, not only did he not do that, he ended up saying, "Let's talk about this tomorrow." Like it's a fucking.
I'm so tired. I don't want to get into this right now.
But what he did was, Rob came in and asked the question, "What's she saying, or what's going on?" And he didn't answer the question. He retorted back defensively with a question to Rob. Like this complete manipulator. Such, I don't know. I've never seen.
And the hard part and this is another one of Zach's follies. You're in the crosshairs now, Zach. Yeah. You asking a question back. No one's listening. No one's believing you at the moment. Yep. Right? Your miss isn't working right now. So it's time to stop the miss and try to just turn some truths. Try to turn some truths. Take the truth, try to flip it the best you can.
Especially with the fact that he has some power that week.
Mm-hmm.
He has the veto. He's not going home. He has some time. He has time to fix shit.
Right.
He truly does.
Right.
But no. Why? Because he's Zach and he's always right.
Correct. And so we get this conversation. Rob then goes and talks to John. John's like, Zach, is this true? Are you really trying to go for Rob? What are you talking about, John? I thought you had more faith than us. I thought you were down for the cause. Why are you guys talking to me about this? I don't want to be talking about it. Zach just once again gets defensive. And John's like, no, man, I'm just asking. Like, I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yep.
We're all just trying to be on the same page. Zach gets defensive because Zach is caught red-handed. He's like, Vanessa's just causing problems. He tries to put this on Vanessa, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, the ridiculousness about this is that if he was really trying to put this on Vanessa, then he should have gone straight to Dan and said, you know what, we need to get rid of Vanessa. Right? Like that's the ridiculousness. There was no need, like at some point he could have just said, you know what, yeah, I'm trying to get Rob, I'm trying to get Dan S to put up Vanessa. Or sorry, I'm trying to get Dan S to put up Rob, and that's just the way it's going to be. Like at some point, you got to own up to your mastermind if you want to be a mastermind, or you got to change your strategy.
You got to change your strategy, Sheldon. You go and you say, you put up Vanessa, you tell Dan put up Vanessa. You go to Rob and say, listen, I never said that. She's obviously trying to cause problems. I have the veto. Let me talk to Dan. Let's see if we can get Vanessa up instead of whoever he was going to put up. Yeah. Because she's got to go because all she's doing is causing problems.
Yep.
Or you don't use the veto at all. You keep Rob here. And you tell Rob, I'm with the squad. We're keeping Hope safe.
And get rid of Renee.
We're going to get rid of Renee.
Yep.
But instead, Dan S. comes around and says, hey, guys, I just want to make sure the plan's still in order. And Zach says...
By the way, this is my favorite part of the show because Dan is asking Zach for permission. Dan's the HOH. Yes. He's asking Zach for the blessings.
Yes.
The mob boss needs to approve.
But before the mob boss has this conversation, though, does Santina talk to Dan? Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Santina talks to Dan, and Santina says to Dan, hey, they did a very good job getting in my head last week. You have the choice of what to do here. Do what you want to do. They got me last week because she knows that her boyfriend's going up. She knows that Rob is going up. Mind you, there seems to have been a showmance between Santina and Rob that we did not see. Wow. And I'm just reading the clues from like the hugs and the kiss on the forehead that he gave her when they were sitting outside and the cuddling, that there seems to be some kind of a relationship that was forming or building here. And so, and that coupled with Santina being so upset about what's going on, that there's some kind of...
I don't know if she was upset about Rob. That might be true.
She's upset about Rob.
I think it was being upset about being duped again. Like I
don't think no, because she knew that this was the plan to get Rob all along. She knew that this was the plan, but I think that she didn't know that they were going serious about going through with this so soon. And
she knew it was the plan, and she never actually said no.
She never tried to stop it. And then when she did try to stop it, it was too late. And That's why she goes to talk to Dan and she says, Dan, they got me last time. I didn't really want to put up JM and I don't know why, but they like talked me into doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them do the same
Sorry,
thing to
let's
you.
just be clear, not they, Zach.
Correct. But she's saying they because she's talking about Ty too. But she's talking mainly about Zach.
Yeah.
And she's like, Zach, so this is your chance to take this over and do what you want. If you want to put Rob up, do it. If not, do what you want to do. Play for your game because we need to start playing for our own games. After this conversation, though, we see, like you said, Dan go ask Zach for permission to still put up Rob.
Insane.
And then Zach says, yeah, we're still going through with it, but let's have a conversation with him ahead of time. Not all three of us, though. You and Ty sit down with Rob and explain to him that he's going up. It's probably best for me to not be in the room because I'm already getting a lot of heat. But you two should go and have this conversation with him. Yeah. It was like, Dan's like, sounds good. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I don't get that from Dan's perspective.
I don't either.
Like you just had a conversation where Santina basically corroborated basically said, look, this was my experience in my first week. They went into my head. They convinced me to do something I never wanted to do. I did it. And you're doing the exact same thing. How did they speak to you? Oh yeah, that is exactly how they spoke to me. What did they do? Yeah, that's exactly what they did. And so 2 minutes later, or however long later after the edit happens, he goes into the room and says, oh yeah, I did like it when he pulled those gummies out. And when I look deep into his eyes, it feels good, like he's on my side. Okay, I guess let me ask him for a permission and continue with our plan. What? How does that make sense to him? How does that make sense to him?
It's so odd. And I want to take it back real fast because there was an important conversation that would happen between Santina and Zach. That I glossed over. Yeah. Santina says to Zach, I don't think we should be putting up Rob.
Yep.
I think we should be doing something else. Zach says, no, this is what we should be doing. Santina says, if we're a team, we should be listening to each other. I put up JM because that was good for the team, according to you. But that was not good for Santina's personal game because JM was never coming for me. Rob is good for my game to stick around. And then Zach says, but he's not good for my game. So he needs to go. Santina once again says, if we're a team, if we're working together, we should be trying to help out the two of us.
Oops.
I thought this was a great conversation because this immediately told Santina, this started to open up Santina's eyes about where she's at in this situation. And then it helps change how everything goes because the moment Zach leaves the room, she says, if I could keep Rob, I could have him help me go after this SOB.
Yeah.
And that's when we saw that her true triple agentness was in effect.
Yeah, and I don't want to harp on Zach, but we also saw his true ridiculousness. His girlfriend's got to leave him after this. like, how could she continue on? He's doing the same thing with her. Maybe I'm going too far.
But they're going too far. You're going too far.
I don't know.
But okay, so Dan and Ty, going back, Dan and Ty had the conversation. And then they said, listen, we don't want you to be blindsided. I respect the hell out of Roberto because he then says, Dan, it hasn't happened yet. You can change this. Obviously, there's someone that's saying, and he says to Dan's face, I don't think this is your move. This is not what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because it's me, because I don't think that this was the thought in your head to do.
Yeah.
I think there's other people trying to pull the strings here.
Well, why isn't he saying the name Zach? Why is he so afraid of saying Zach?
Like Voldemort. Like you can't say Voldemort.
Is he somehow still under his mist?
I don't know. I don't know if he was still because he still wasn't saying his name at the end, but
he wasn't saying his name when he was sitting outside with Arissa.
Yeah, Zach is the big bad here. But he won't say his name. He won't call out the villain. And he just won't do it. And since he won't do it, Dan is like, I think this is the right move. So then we go to the veto ceremony. Zach takes down that
Hope.
takes down Hope, and Dan puts up Rob, but not just puts up Rob, says the speech exactly how Zach told him to say it, which was that there's people that there's drama being caused by you, Rob, and that's why I'm putting you up based on what's going on in the house. There's no drama being caused by Rob.
In fact, like he's drama-less.
Yes. Yes.
He
Now
was
with
a good guy too. I don't know.
yes, he was a very good guy and a good player.
Yeah,
And
yes.
he goes up and immediately people are crestfallen because it's happened. The darkness has taken over the manor. The Lord Voldemort is alive and well. The Death Eaters are alive. Everything's happening.
Okay.
And it's just so interesting because immediately Big John gets to work. Because Big John considers him a brother. In fact, he had said to Santina through tears that Rob is a special dude to him. That's like family to him. And if Rob is going to possibly be in trouble, he would rather go in his place.
What do you think of that?
Well, Santina cries too because I think he genuinely means it.
Yeah, he does.
Big John Hemsworth, because he looks like one of the Hemsworth brothers. Big John Hemsworth, he's like dead serious about this, and Santina's crying too because this is her love in Rob, and John has a different love for Rob, but it's one that's still just as strong apparently, and they know what's happening, and they don't like it.
I have to say, I wish we would have seen a little bit of both of their loves
Yeah.
because we didn't get a little bit of that emotional side of from Rob that I think we needed. And you're right, like that I got emotional when Jonathan was getting emotional because it was like it was real. He might have forgotten he was playing Big Brother, which is fine.
Well, he in fact said, "I'm not good at this game. I can't do this." Even though he's a super fan and he could probably play really well, he's saying, "I can't do this because I'm watching this happen to someone I care deeply about, and this is fucked up."
Well, my favorite line, it kind of made me chuckle a little bit, was, "This is a man's hat." And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? It's a man. I think it's pink or something. But he's not a man's hat. Or
but it was the fact. I think it was Rob's hat.
It was Rob's hat. This is my man's. I don't know. But look, this guy is a fantastic guy, and you know, I hope if anything, this experience, we saw him get a little charged up.
Yeah,
and I kind of hope this wakes him up, and he's going to start. You know, I would love. It would
I hate that term. I hate that term from you right there. Of that he wakes up. We're 15 days in to a 90-day marathon. So like, and the reason I say that is because in this point in Big Brother, you normally don't need to be awake, right?
No, I mean, he wakes up in the sense that he realizes he's playing a game.
Oh,
I don't think
he realizes it. Oh,
I think he now realizes it. But I'm not sure. I think he was there. I think he was unintentionally doing the right thing. He was making strong relationships. That's I think, but I don't think he was doing it for the game.
I disagree. I disagree that he was doing it unintentionally. I think making strong relationships was his plan initially. It should be your plan to play Big Brother. If you're playing Big Brother, to go make it. But you don't normally have this wrecking ball in Zach, who decides that it's time to play week 6 game in week 1.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. We didn't get enough John in the last 2 weeks to
correct. Well, I feel like John was like, I'm just gonna hang tight and like really bro down with Rob. As the two of us, we're gonna make other friends like Hope, and we're gonna make other friends like Daniel C, and we're gonna be okay. And then you're coming for my brother. Yeah. For what reasons? On what grounds? None. Wow.
Well, they even have a weird confrontation on the stairs.
Yes,
it was so awkward.
Starting the campaign, so they start their campaigns. Renee's campaigns, her campaign is good, but she just did this last week. She's talking to the people.
Yeah.
John's campaigning hard for Rob, along with Rob campaigning for himself, which is fantastic. Yeah. But both of their campaigns, they compared campaign notes and then hit the trail. And the campaign notes they came up with was, if you keep me, you have someone to go against Zach.
Yep.
And not do you just have me, you have my brother in arms and John, and we are going to work together to take him out. Vice president and president. They're going to go out there and fight the good fight. And it's a very compelling campaign. Well, apparently, Zach overhears that the campaign pitch includes
His
people
name.
targeting him.
Yep.
Yep. When he finds this out, he decides to confront John on the stairs and
In front
says,
of everybody.
yeah, hey, keep my name out your mouth in your campaign. I wasn't a part of this.
I thought there was going to be a Will Smith moment.
I just love the fact that Big John's like, all right, man. Okay, man, I got you. No, okay. I wasn't saying that, but okay. And mind you, John's on the stairs. Zach's at the top of the stairs.
Looking down at him as a peasant.
On the landing, on the floor, is Rob. And he's looking back at this confrontation. And he's like, Zach saying, I didn't tell you not to be friends with Rob. I said I was distancing myself from Rob. So that way people wouldn't put us together. But do what you want, John. As if it was a threat.
Why wasn't there a blow up?
Because John's calm.
Like, is it just not? So, why? Like, is it that both John and Rob are just really like down to earth, calm, nice human beings, and they wouldn't have, like, if honestly, if this was BB, this would have been a fight. Correct. Somebody would have been pulled out of that house because there was fisticuffs.
They would have been in each other's faces. But because this is BBCAN and like John and Rob are just like chill dudes.
Yeah.
Because you can tell they're chill dudes based on how they were campaigning.
Yeah.
There was no franticness. There was no seemed to be empty promises. It was all all truth. Yeah. And they go about doing that in their campaigns. There's no fight here, but once again, Zach's out here telling the people how it's going to be, basically. Yeah. And basically, I felt like he was threatening John.
Oh, it felt that, especially he was at the top looking down. Like, it felt like the king was looking down at the peasants. It was again, it was yucky. Yep. Like, and it did feel a little threatening to me. And the truth is, like, John didn't need to take that. And like, I get that's his personality, but like at some point, like, it would have been okay if John looked at him in the eye and said, "Look, you're responsible for this. He's my guy, so I'm going to do whatever I can to keep him."
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like Zach didn't know that's what would have happened. Like, that's just obvious.
Very obvious.
So I don't understand why John wouldn't have done that outside of really just being a Canadian who's trying to avoid as much conflict as possible at all times.
He's just trying to not have conflict and trying to continue to ride for his guy. Because he was on the campaign trail when it happened.
Yeah.
So he gets back to speaking around to people. As the days start to wind down, we see that there's a 3-person group that's in the middle.
Yeah.
Daniel C, Kuzi, and Anika. The 3 of them really chill, real hanging out, real good people. Daniel C, very smart. Kuzi, very smart. Anika learning the game from the 2 of them.
Can I just say, Anika reminds me of Cassidy from Survivor. I always forget she's in the house, but all of a sudden she appears on screen, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's here.
I can see that because she's not really giving much, but she's trying to. I did like her conversation she had with Ty, where she's like, I know that I said that I was going to vote out Rob, but Rob and John made some compelling arguments. I'm not really sure what I'm doing right now.
Yep. Honesty. You know where she is.
And Daniel's like, I'm in the middle, and it's time for me to start this revolution. I have to pull in people because we're going to be the ones they're going to choose to take out. Me, Kuzi, Anika. We're just the also Rams, kind of. So we need to figure out where we fit in. And I like that. So they're listening from speeches from both sides to try to figure out which works best for them. They want the boys to go after each other.
Yep.
But they also don't necessarily want to be grouped with the girls, but they're working with the girls for obvious reasons.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. Daniel says, I don't want to take... He says this weird thing, I don't want to take orders from the boys.
From a man. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, did you look in the mirror recently, buddy?
It wasn't that. It was the fact that Daniel's a fan, and he probably, like we've talked about on this show and Survivor, tired of the women going home first. And so he's like, I'm not going to let a dude run this game, especially with me being here to help make sure that didn't happen.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I was just looking. I'm like, you're a guy. Don't forget, right? Like maybe
It's the
maybe
Girls and Gays Alliance. It's the Girls and Gays Alliance. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but there's a lot more girls than gays. One of the gays left already,
That's
right?
true.
That puts him in a really awkward situation at some point.
And that's
I
what he's
don't.
going to have to figure out later on. But like right now, he's like, I like Kuzi. I like Anika. I want to work with them. I have a good relationship with Hope. Let's see what we can do. And so the the girls are deciding. The girls are Renee, Shania, and Claudia are a threesome. They're
Yeah.
they're a threesome. Vanessa apparently has a good relationship with Dan, so Vanessa was never going to go up apparently, but she's also working with the girls.
I don't know. Who would
That's
who
what it
could
appears.
know? Who could know?
Well, Santina is going to vote to keep Rob because that's her boo.
Yeah.
They are afraid that the girls are working with Ty, but in reality, they don't know that Ty gives Claudia nothing.
Well, he gives her something.
But none of it is game related.
Okay, shame.
So the campaigns go, and I thought it was some real good campaigning
Yeah, it was great.
from both sides, Renee and
Yeah.
John and Rob. We get down to the vote, and surprisingly, the vote is kind of close.
Yeah.
And I loved how they did it when pulling the people in there because the first one to vote was John, I think. It was like John that voted first, voted to keep Rob, put out Renee.
Well, they kept it really close. It was back and forth.
Yeah.
One
It was
had-
then it was Ty voting out Rob. Then it was Santina voting to keep Rob. Then it was Zach voting out Rob. Then it was Claudia voting to keep Renee, vote out Rob. And I was like, okay, this is close. And then that's what I thought was interesting. They bring in Anika next. Because I then paid attention because Anika went like fifth. And I was like, Anika's going to tell us which way this is going.
Yep.
Because Shania is voting with Claudia because Renee's their girl. As much as they would love to keep Rob, it's between Rob and their girl, so there's nothing they can do here. Ty has been a part of the champ. Ty and Zach want him gone. Santina wants him to stay. Hope, I wonder what Hope's going to do, but I think Hope's going to go with whatever the guys want, which means Rob has to go.
Yep.
So Anika is going to tell us where Daniel, herself, and Kuzi are going. So Anika comes in there and she says, I vote to evict Rob. And that's when we knew that they were siding with the girls.
Yeah.
Because before this in their campaign trail, Renee had told Daniel, the girls want you. The guys continuing to fracture is what we need. So we need to have that fracture continue to happen. And Daniel said to her, is it more? And I thought this was very clever of Daniel, even though he said it to Renee's face. Is it clever? Is it more clever? Is it better for the guys to fracture with Rob gone? Or is it better for them to continue to fracture with Rob here?
It was a really interesting question he asked her.
Yep. And Renee obviously has some skin in the game, right? And so if Rob's here, that means she's gone.
Yeah.
And she was able to really plead the case as to why it was more interesting with Rob being gone.
And so, do you think it was the right move? So ultimately, Rob leaves with a vote of 7-4.
When Rob leaves, he gives John a hug, he gives a firm handshake and a bro hug. He does a handshake with Hope, showing that he has a good relationship with him. And then he only hugs Vanessa and Santina. He gives her a long hug, which tells me that there was some kind of relationship there. He goes to the top, he does a salute, and he walks out onto the stage.
Why are they? It must be something we're not seeing. They're all doing this weird army saluting in the house.
Correct. It's definitely a guy thing that we don't see.
Yeah.
Ty, when he voted for Rob to go, he did a hand signal here or something. There's nothing, something we don't know. We don't have feeds. We only have microdoses, so I don't really know.
Microdoses.
Do I think it was the right move? Whose perspective are you asking from?
From the Daniel Kuzi Anika.
Yes, I think it was the right move because with the girls telling them they want to work with them, and Daniel, and Zach and Ty not approaching the three of them outside to use them for a vote, which is what Daniel doesn't want. Daniel wants a partnership. He doesn't want to be used for a vote.
Well, I guess my question is more of a long-term question of fine, they get rid of Ty, they get rid of Zach. Then what happens?
Um,
Like
you bring
there's
in,
still
I
Dan and
think,
Vanessa that are
I
left.
think, well, this is what happens. Daniel and Kuzi and and
Anika,
and Nika, they
Cassidy.
bring in Hope. They bring in Hope. They bring in Vanessa.
Yeah.
You then go against Claudia. Probably Ty still probably there because Dan S is probably going to be the next one to go before Ty. You bring in then you bring in you can have them go against Claudia, Shania, and Renee.
Yeah.
And Ty's kind of in the middle because he has a strong friendship with Kuzi, but he has a relationship with Claudia.
Yeah. Well, Kuzi would get rid of Ty in a sec.
Correct.
I don't think Kuzi would get rid of Hope. I think they have a deeper relationship than her and Ty.
Yeah.
So, do you have spoilers? Because I want
Mm.
to hear news.
The only spoiler I have,
Spoiler alert.
if you know what, you don't even have to get out of here because the only thing I got, because you normally should have got this in the episode, we have a new HOH.
Oh my gosh. Could it be Zach? Could it possibly be Zach? I'm so excited if it's Zach. Is it Zach? Is it Zach? Please.
It's
Please.
better than Zach.
Oh my god, it's Dan again. It's Dan S
It's
again.
Dan S for the second time in a row. No,
Two friends. Wow.
it's the Queen. The Queen.
Oh,
Kuzi.
Rissa won HOH.
Queen Kuzi is the
Yes.
HOH. Queen
Yes.
Kuzi is the HOH.
So
I
what's
don't know
Kuzi
what
gonna
she's.
do?
I don't know what Kuzi's done yet, but if we're gonna hypothesize, I think that she puts up Ty and Zach next to each other.
And if she needs to backdoor somebody or she put someone else up, it's Dan.
It's Dan, yeah. And she's like, "You guys, I don't know what's going on there, but the three of you, we got to figure this out." And I think actually, I don't think she puts up Ty. I think she puts up Dan and Zach next to each other, and then ties the back door if necessary. But
So, why not backdoor Zach just like he backdoor the other people?
because it's like the back doors, I think the back door's overused, and he could take Dan down. Then you have to put up Ty. If you put them up next to each other, then that's solidifying your
Yeah, but if Ty wins, he's going to take off Zach, and then you can't put Ty or Zach up. So
right. You put up then you put up Santina,
yeah,
and you send home Dan because we have the votes to send home Dan.
I hope so.
No, you definitely have the votes to send home Dan.
I hope so.
Because the girls are probably not going to send home Santina, but if you do send home Santina, Santina's expendable.
Well, here's the thing: the house now is against Zach. Period. Full stop.
Yes.
It's over. It's done. So it's just a matter of time. And the question to me is, does Zach adjust his game now and say, look, nobody likes me. At this point, you vote me out or I'm your number. Like, I think that's the only move Zach has at this point. If, and he isn't, if he's smart enough to figure that out and able enough to actually bring him down to the peasant level.
I think Zach thinks he still has an iota of control.
Zach's insane.
I just think that he does. Like, I think he thinks he's still in control of a bit.
Do you think he's still the SVP of whatever little company he started?
Yeah. He hasn't done anything wrong.
He's been a piece of shit.
Nothing more than what I'm sure they already know.
Wow. Oh, the Kardashians are about to get a divorce from him.
So, listen, Big Daddy K, she knows what's going on here. Yeah. She's in charge. I think she's going to be able to make sure Zach goes up there and gets what she needs done.
What's interesting to me is, we saw the veto where she's like, I don't want to be in these competitions, and then she wins the competition. So I wonder if it was by accident, like one of those luck competitions, or she's just like, at this point, we need to get rid of Zach. So she goes for it. Or, because I was a little surprised when I heard that Kuzi got it. I was assuming one of the other girls. To me, this would have been a perfect Shania time, an interesting Claudia time, right? Not Kuzi, not the middle folks. But I don't know. I'll love to see what happens on Tuesday, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, only on Global TV.
And join us next week on Tuesday.
Also, we forgot to talk about the Wendy's, but forget the Wendy's.
We'll talk about that next time. Thank you for joining us. Sheldon, it was a pleasure once again, as always.
Sorry for all my sneezing.
No worries. Hope you get better, man. Join us next week. Tuesday for Survivor, or Wednesdays for Survivor, Wednesday for Big Brother, Thursday for Survivor, and Friday for Big Brother. We'll be back. Thank y'all. Have a good night.
Good
Bye.
night. Someone's always watching.